Getting around is important, even if you have a lot of space to work with. Sometimes you just need quick access to get up or down to where you need to. Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Balin, and this is Rustic Waters II. Yeah, as you can see, I did a little bit of stuff between there. I made some of these extreme vector plates, which, if you're curious about how I made them with some fast vector plates and some of the gold nuggets that I got from straining and stuff, sugar, and then those were made from, of course, regular vector plates, which is iron and sugar. Going back to blank plates, which is also involves sugar and slime, regular slime balls, which is just a bunch of the kelp combined together. But the blank plates were made from black dye, as I had some squid nearby, and I ended up just kind of slaughtering them with my new silver saber. It was relatively easy, and I got just enough so that I could make like a set of 24. And now I've got a really quick and easy way of getting from one section of the base to another. On top of that, I have those elevators that I made last time. I ended up using more ender pearls. These things have like an infinite range as far as I can tell in here. So it's really good. I can get up to the top, and then I can get down to this level. Then I can get down just below. I'm only like a few blocks below, but this is in case I just want to do some work outside the base. And then all the way down on the ocean floor, I am also down here on like this little shipwreck, as you can see. So I just put a whole bunch of open fence gates around these, and a little bit of some a torch here, because you can't actually jump on this while it's submerged with water, because you just end up floating instead of like jumping. So you can't go up and down these very easily. But yeah, I thought that this was really cool, and I plan on putting one really high up as well, just so that I can have something at the surface eventually, but not at this moment. On top of that, one other small thing that I did, I upgraded my furnaces from copper to silver. They just work a little bit faster than the regular copper ones, and as well a little bit faster than the iron ones. Though I do have more iron, I figure I'm going to end up needing that for steel. I added in a couple hoppers, one at the top here that has the charcoal being fed in so that it can get turned into coal coke, which I've got plenty, and you can see that the fluid storage tank came out as well, because I've got another hopper underneath that aims into this barrel. But yeah, we've got plenty. In fact, we've got more than 64 buckets. We've got 64 plus 6.8 buckets worth in there, so it's quite efficient, or at least effective. Maybe not efficient just yet. Let's get back into questing. We've got a lot of create stuff to start getting into here, and this is really going to help us with automation. And the reason that this is a big focus in here is because of this. Caladan's leadership goals are as steeped in technology as they are in tradition. Each city-state within the region operates massive workshops producing steam, electrical, and rotational power, all interconnected by a complicated infrastructure where ingenuity meets metal. And I think that actually makes a lot of sense. So I did end up making the wrench, by the way, which was just a bunch of copper, really, with some of those treated sticks. And I got time in a bottle, and I've been storing it since, because I've just been kind of like messing around while I've been editing and things like that. But yeah, you get the idea. I also made a bunch of alloy, like andesite alloy, and I've got another hub key fragment, which is great. But let's read the information about this one. Using the Create mod, you can automate many processes in the early game. This quest page will walk you through the most useful automation for this point in your journey. You're encouraged to use the link provided in the Rustic Waters 2 guide to dive deeper into the mod's extensive capabilities if you choose to. And then on the andesite alloy, it says there are many points of interest at the water's surface as well. Village islands spawn with villagers that have unique trades that can aid you in your adventure. These coins are a common currency with those villagers. And when it says these coins are a common currency with the villagers, I don't think it means andesite alloy or hub key fragments. I have a feeling it's talking about like emeralds or keys or shards or something like that. But we're going to keep moving on here and make a bunch of these shafts and get ourselves a flingerator, or a weighted ejector as it is here. The theme of Create is using torque or kinetic stress units to make gears turn and machines function. Create does an excellent job of showing you how to utilize its common blocks in the JEI menu, or just enough items. Hover over an item that you would like more information on, then hold the W key to ponder about the item, which is really good. For example, here are shafts. We're going to need to make a few of those. They're really easy to make, just a couple andesite alloy, but you notice it says hold W to ponder. If I hold this, I get a little loading screen, and then it pops up with this example on how things work. You can use them for rotational power, and so on. There's plenty that you can go to and just hit escape to get out of that, and sometimes there's multiple steps and setups that you can look at. But for now, I just need a bit of andesite alloy. 32 of those total. That sounds great to me, and I'm good. With that, we get a weighted ejector, which is a fun item. If you're not familiar with it, you of course can see the ponder motion of it, but it more or less will take one item and fling it over to another location as long as it's in its directional area that it can. And it has enough ceiling height in order to fling it over to that location. Next, we're going to make a hand crank. Create machines have two metrics, rotational speed and stress units. To better understand it, think of rotational speed being how fast tires spin, while stress units dictate how heavy of a load they can hold while still spinning. Some machines require faster rotational speeds, which in turn creates more stress. Run out of stress, and your system will stop spinning. And I am noticing that a lot of the create items require treated wood. I think that's specifically because a lot of the stuff we're doing is going to be underwater, so I will need a little bit of that. One hand crank, and if you are curious about how these work, it basically goes on these kind of connections on any kind of item, and then you can use it to just kind of activate it like so. There we go. Yep, it worked. And then you can wind it back up again. This is only going to default to whatever this space is immediately in front of it unless you otherwise set it first. All right, now this is an interesting thing. The windmill, it generates a great amount of kinetic stress. Thankfully, you can rig the windmill to generate force underwater using the flow of water currents instead of wind currents. Now that you have opened up a hub expansion, you should have plenty of room to place the windmills on the outer wall with the shaft extending inwards, just as they show here. So we're more or less making kind of like a submarine's propeller on this thing, which is kind of cool, but it's assumedly just being fed by the currents of, the water around. There we go, one windmill bearing. The more sails you have attached to your windmill bearing, the more water current they catch, and the more rotational power you generate. You can add more than the 24 you're making for this quest. And usually the power goes up in increments of 8 sails at a time, so adding in amounts in between is just going to be more aesthetic than actually productive. All right, and those sail frames look like they require a bunch of treated sticks and aluminum fasteners. Oh, which aluminum fasteners are made from aluminum rods and an engineer's wire cutters. Okay, there's a bit of a chain here. And I get another one of those Coral's Light ones, which is great. It gives me more water breathing, night vision, and swim speed bonus. All right, once you've assembled your windmill, click on its backside to start it up. Place shafts from the back extending into your hub. These shafts will be what turns the gears to power your operations. You can make more windmills if needed. Oh, and it wants me to make white sails. Oh, so I'm going to need to actually take those sail frames and combine them with bolts of linen cloth. Interesting. Usually these work the same as these do in most create uses, but I guess in this case we're going to need to actually add in some sails onto these sail frames. But I do get more treated wood planks, which is actually what I needed since I just used a whole bunch of them up making this stuff. And then it kind of branches out quite a bit. We're going to start off with the regular small cogwheels. You'll gain access to a machine that simplifies increasing your rotational speed soon. Create machines work faster with more rotational speed. Remember though, increasing the speed increases the stress. The turning radius of a large cogwheel covers more space than a small cogwheel. You can use this to speed up the rotational output. In the image below, the small cogwheel will spin much faster when turned by the large cogwheel, which makes sense. Get a 5er out of that, and then we move on to the large ones. Now this is basically gear ratios, and this explains it quite well how you can do it with just a few images. You can always ponder these as well. You can continue increasing the speed by adding a large cogwheel onto your small cogwheel, and then repeating the process, multiplying the rotational force each time. There will be a limit to the amount of stress you can apply to a single chain. Make sure to use your goggles for more information about each piece. And in this case we get a stressometer, which is pretty nice because you can also convert that into a speedometer just by recrafting it. Recipe for a large cogwheel is rather basic, but it is going to need a whole bunch more of that treated wood, and I'm more or less out of it unless these 4 planks count for that. So I'm going to need to make up a whole bunch more. Be right back. Get our stressometer, which is great. So the gearbox, now that you have some kinetic stress, let's put it to good use. A gearbox will rotate the axes of your shaft 90 degrees and branch off into other directions. It seems as though making andesite casing is actually relatively expensive in comparison to regular Create, but I should have enough to make at least the base amount so that I can make a gearbox, because that's required for the center part of it. Now, I will be needing a whole bunch more gearboxes in the future, but for now, I think I'm just going to stick to what the quest is calling for. We get 4 encased chain drives, which allows you to change the rotation of more or less something similar to a mechanical belt. Mechanical belts extend rotational power to an adjacent shaft. A combination of mechanical belts and gearboxes can redirect your rotational power almost anywhere. There are vertical and horizontal gearboxes. And as you notice here, belts can go on their side as well as horizontal. These are simple, they're just made from some dried kelp, which I've got plenty left over. And quest complete, getting another hub key fragment. How many is that so far? That's just 2. All right, one more, we can open up another wall. All right, now we're getting into the really interesting stuff. This is basically a way of interacting in the world with automation using deployers. They're akin to automated users. They can place blocks, activate a lever, or even attack enemies. They perform this action 2 spaces in front of them, bypassing whatever is in the first space. They can even place gravel and dirt into your sluice when hoppered in from above them. As you can see here in the image, they're showing hoppers feeding the deployer, which are these little hands on the post. And they'll end up putting the contents of the item being hoppered into them, into the sluice in this case. Now this looks to be a little bit more complex. We already know how to make andesite casings. They're not exactly cheap, but we can make them. Redstone repeaters, those recipes haven't changed. The copper gear is just made with some copper and an iron nug. And a brass hand, which is made with a brass sheet, which we've made already, a shaft, and a brass rod, which is just 2 more brass ingots. So this is a rather expensive item, but it is extremely useful nonetheless. And there we have it. 4 deployers. Oh my gosh. That was quite a bit of a questing chain to get those. So those are going to be very valuable, and something that I'm definitely not going to want to have to craft too often if it can be avoided. And hey, look at this. We need 2 manual pumps, which I'm just going to mine up some of the ones that we've already got. But manual pumps can be operated by deployers to supply water to your sluices. Deployers touch the block 2 spaces in front of them, so the pumps are placed directly in front of the gravel/dirt deployers and over source blocks of water. You can use another gearbox and mechanical belts to direct some of your rotational power up to the new deployers. So this is showing you how you can automate making your resources. So you've got, all right, so I know I've still got like a minute or so time on each of these, but I'm not too bothered by it. I can easily just place these back down, and I'm going to be automating this anyway. So that completes that quest. Gets me another hub key fragment. Huzzah! And I now have enough that I can make a complete key and open up another area if I need to. Woo! That's always a big boom. Hub expansion key complete. Congratulations, you have earned your next hub expansion key. This should come in handy as you progress into the next quest chapter, covering advanced crafting and power generation. Oh, and I get a silk touch book. That's pretty nice, actually. That's something you usually don't get to start with, so I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, I also made some flippers, which are just made with leather and clay from Cyclic, and you can just put them in your curio slot down here. But the only problem with these flippers is that they will automatically propel you forward. So if you're trying to go straight down, you'll go down while moving forward. It's kind of weird, but if you do need to go a good distance or something like that, or just travel quickly underwater, it's good to have. You can just pop them in there and good to go. And something I totally forgot about most cyclic things is that you can actually put it in here and you can see it says on, right click to toggle. That's not like the item in your hand. You actually are hovering your mouse over it, right clicking, and it will change it off, right click to toggle. So if I need these, I can actually go into my inventory, just right click, and I don't have to have them taking up an inventory space. You know, I was wondering why this chapter looked different from this one in here. It's because I didn't actually complete it. I skipped the tool belt completely. It even says in here, yeah, once you have gained and sluiced some resources, revisit this quest to craft a tool belt. The tool belt is an easy way to keep your hotbar organized. You can right click it from your hotbar to load your pickaxe, shovel, and other tools into it. Then place it into your belt curio slot. You can access your curios by selecting the small button next to your head on your inventory character sheet. After you have placed your tool belt in the right curio slot, you can hold V by default. Check your swap tool keybind to change, to pull up your radial menu. Alright, that's actually not too bad of a recipe. Let me get that together. There we go, one tool bot. And one tool belt has been obtained. Let's see, it said in the curios belt slot. So I've got 2 belt slots. Nice. Okay, upgrade 0, 2 slots. So if I hit V, currently don't have a personal horse. Okay, maybe the keybinds are a little bit overlapped. Yeah, just a little bit. There's 5 different things calling for the letter V. Oh, I forgot. I have a belt pouch that I could probably add on to that. So let's try that out as well. That does use a little bit of my XP, but I'm not too bothered with it. I now have 1 upgrade on it. And by right-clicking, I've got 3 slots. Alright, so I feel like I was misled. V actually doesn't do anything, it's R. R brings up this little wheel, and I can then choose this, and then use it. I press R, and I can insert it back in there again. In fact, hitting V, now that I've reassigned that, allows me to put it here instead of in that curios slot. So I can right-click, and I can put a few different tools in here, like some engineer's goggles, for example. Then I press V, I put it back in place. Press R, and I can choose which one of these I want to extract from here. Oh, nice. So I could choose this one, and then I could put these on if I want. By switching out my hat, which then, makes everything dark. But if I so desire, I can then insert this one into that spot. Nice. Okay, or I can swap it even. Cool. Either way, I've completed this, and that should finish off this entire chapter now. There we go. Yep, they're both really bright green. All right, let's see. Create crafting. This tab will walk you through mechanical crafting and mixing, the first steps to advancing your technology. This includes crafting your first FE per tick generators and steel, which is forge energy per tick or per time amount. The Imperators tried unsuccessfully to balance the direction of his kingdom between the traditions that founded it and the technological advancements pushed by his scientific advisors. Towers of high-tech engineering contrasted abominably against the nearby brick castle countrysides. Yet that kind of makes sense, and it looks like we're going to need to start at one of 2 places here, either electron tubes, and the other route is to make a mechanical mixer, which is not too bad. I mean, the whisk requires a whole bunch of iron plates and stuff. But it looks like this one takes us to the route of power and being able to adjust certain things. This one here takes us to the way of being able to mix items and, storing crafting terminals. Okay, that's a storage terminal is pretty interesting. I would like a new storage system, please. All right, so before I jump into that, though, I feel like I want to get out of this place. I've got a little bit of cabin fever, and I want to go exploring. Now, as much as I can go down here, which I might as well do a little bit of exploring while I'm down here. I don't think it'll be too bad. Can I do some swimming? There we go. So now I can get in here. And there's some items all ready for me to grab. Nice. I think there's another chest. Yep, right here with some spawn eggs and money. Interesting. Okay. I got a feral wolf spawn egg, a cave centipede spawn egg, and a piglin brute spawn egg. How lovely. And an empty map. All right, well, these are at least a few items that I have, but ultimately what I wanted to do was head upstairs and out and try and find the location that kind of lead. Yeah, there's actually a glass window there that I can use to get to the surface and hopefully survive the experience. Actually, let me go down 1 block, and this is just out on the platform here, just underneath. And I think what I'm going to do is take this bubble vader to get all the way up to the top of this. And then I'm out of air, but I should be able to make it all the way up. We'll see. If not, I have my Coral's Light if I need to. Probably going to need that just to get back down. Hey, I made it. Okay. What a dreary looking day. There's a whale. Okay. And there's a little house over there too. Before I get too carried away, I'm going to try and find the center of this and line myself up with this little light in the middle. Once I get that set up, then actually what I might have to do is use one of these coral lights just to build, because I can't place a block here. Or can I? Replaceable scaffolding or fragile scaffolding. Either way, this is cheap stuff. It's just made with some sticks, and I can place them in the middle of the air. I'll be right back. Actually, you know what? I see some wood over there by this tree. Let's just head over here. There are flying... Are those ducks? They look like ducks. There are flying birds nearby. Oh, and there's a... Is that a villager? Hi. How are you? You're a weaponsmith, and you sell sabers and iron ingot. Okay, nice. Oh, those are gulls. That's totally awesome that there are gulls on this island here. Okay. Ooh, nice. You don't need this, do you? Here, let me just switch out my axe and grab this. Thank you very much. And I've got some items in there that I could do. Actually, while I think of it, let's put all this stuff that I just picked up inside. Oh, and there's another engineer's workbench. A few more items and a blueprint. Alright, you're coming with me too. This can stay. There's nothing in it at the moment. And I do have Hunger 3, or the bends as it is, from being up here. I am going to borrow a bit of your house. You don't mind, do you? Because I need some sticks. There, see? I put it back good as new. You won't even notice the difference. Look at that. You can see it down there. It looks lovely. Having night vision is actually kind of a good blessing at this point. Fragile scaffolding. That's pretty much what I need. I only needed one of these, but it doesn't matter. I might as well bring this with me just in case I end up needing it for some reason. Now to go line up so that I can have an elevator coming all the way up to the surface. Nice and easy. Okay, there we go. I think that's the spot that I wanted. And there's one way to find out. There we go. Break the scaffold, get on top, and... Oh, beautiful. I now have easy access to the surface. Boy, that first purchase of a bunch of ender pearls was really, really good. Okay. I've got a couple shulker box equivalents, which, actually I forgot. These are just made from treated wood. Man, it should have been something that I should have done first thing. All right, now that I'm back and settled, a little bit unloaded, and I've got some of these wooden storage crates that I can just kind of keep with me to store a few things in if I find stuff, it's pretty darn nice to be able to go exploring, but I really can't stay underwater very long, and I only have 3 of these, and I don't have the means to actually make more at this point, so I feel like they're just kind of like emergencies, and I see these really cool like bubbly places and things that I might be able to get to, but I'm not entirely certain. I could always like dig underground and mine my way in that direction, and there's even something really cool looking over there. Out over in this distance you can see it looks like some kind of giant fish tank, but it's more like oxygen maybe. I don't know. But I don't know that I can make it quite out far enough to those yet. So I think I am going to stay inside and continue on making some of these things, because what we're going to need after this chapter here is Subnautica chapter, which starts with a Seamoth frame. And when you look at what that is requiring, it requires steel and framed glass and gray seats and 11 mechanical crafters, which are made from a bunch of the stuff in the previous chapter. It kind of tells you that you do really need to follow some sort of order in order to get to your easy mode transport in the water. But when it comes to above the water, that's going to be something a little different. I think the farming and food section, you start off with an oak cog, or that's the first step. And it says here, remember that you get the bends when you ascend to the surface. This causes your body to enter recovery mode, giving you a constant hunger effect. You will need a seaworthy vessel to explore the surface of the water as well. The small ships mod will allow you to build faster, larger, multi-passenger ships that have built-in storage for your items. Craft an oak cog and prepare to hit the high seas. Press R to open and close the sail. Press J and K respectively to increase and decrease the sail. Crouching and right-click will open the inventory. Press your I key to open and close the ship's inventory while sailing. Lots of hotkeys. Lots of hotkeys. But yeah, it's pretty cool that you can have one of these things. And of course, reward is a hub key fragment. I'm going to put that on my crafting list because I think we could probably... It just requires some kind of chest, boats, string, and sail is made from wool. leads and some wood. Yeah, this isn't that bad at all. So I say, why not? Let's start making this thing so we can go exploring on the surface, at least in a low-tech manner, and we can do the high-tech submarine a little bit later. 1 oak cog, that was actually really easy, and I have some extra leads. I think I grabbed a little too many there, but I think we'll be all right nonetheless. And here we are upstairs, and I do see some stuff out actually on the edges of my vision out there, so let's try putting this down. Holy cow. Oh, neat. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at these controls again. And if I hit I open up the cogs inventory. Haha, I'm going to put a crafting table in there and a couple of leads because I can. I have put a waypoint just in case I end up getting lost. But let's hit R to open the sail. Oh my gosh, that went really fast. And oh, I forgot, R also opens up my my tool belt. Oh, I've got a little chest next to me. Cool. I gotta say, this is like totally awesome. Just seeing this and the perspective, I like it quite a lot. All right, and J just lets out the sail a little bit at a time. K brings it back. That's nice. Oh, okay. I do steer it properly. This is pretty cool. I can see now why this is a thing. Oh, this is so cool. And this, I'm booking on this thing. Holy cow. Here we are at the next island, and I think I just hit sneak. And I should be able to get it. Yeah, that was really good. But I can at least get back in easy enough. Hello, folks. How's it going? What do you got over here? Cinnamon. We've got jungle logs with peppercorns on them, but I don't see any sign of any cocoa beans. That would be too fortuitous. Tropical gardens, which might have any number of different things in them. Are these more figs? No, passion fruit. Ooh, fermenters. Okay. I could actually use these. I think I'm going to need 2 of these for a future quest. Yeah, here it is. It's just down the line a little bit. It required, yep, 2 of them. So I now have 1 at home and 1 on me. And in the engineer's crafting table here, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Let's grab all this loot. That's great. And hey, actually, 24 bitter lily buds. I just got that from that table. Convert 1 barley into a barley seed so you can grow more. You can also obtain seeds from sluicing coral. Bitter lily pads can be found all over the surface of the water. These sticky buds serve multiple purposes. They can be ground into a mushy paste that water seals your hydrostatic botany pots or acts as an activating ingredient for yeast. Cool. I'm not going to take those right now because I don't want to overload my inventory. And I've got a grinder downstairs. Then fermenters. That's a 10 coin. That's another hub key fragment. For now, though, I think I am going to be heading back to base. If only because it's getting late into the episode and I feel like I'm going to have a lot of editing to do. All right, let me grab this second fermenter here and we can start completing a few more quests that I was not anticipating completing today. We got a hub key fragment. We get the extra seeds of barley and brown mushrooms. Up here I have a grinder, which I've already made earlier. Get myself some money for that. It says the Tipsy mod offers a variety of different brews, each with very powerful, longer duration buffs. Yes, which is great, because then I can start making some of these and go further distances underwater or something. Yeast, I already got those from the table. Bitter lilies are semi-hollow pods that not only have a malty bitterness, but also allow fungus spores to grow inside their rind. Grind them up, as this should make a flavorful yeast to brew very beneficial drinks with. Ooh, and I get a mediocre explorer's stash with a fulminating grenade, a block of redstone, nickel dust, and a grass block. Then the 2 fermenters, they will turn wort and yeast into drinkable beverages. This process takes a few minutes. Once the wort has fermented, it will appear in the fermenter output. Hubkey, get 3 glass bottles should complete the next quest, which gets me ethereal glass. The top slot of the fermenter UI is for yeast. The bottom slot is for whichever wort type you want to ferment to make each of the 3 brews. And then it's got the 3 different types here. Coral wort looks like it's made from barley, glass bottles, and a bunch of different kinds of coral, plus some water. Wow, lots of stuff, and it needs to be heated. Oh, wow, this is quite a bit of stuff. I feel like we did get a good chunk into this, though, which was kind of neat. And looking at the other end of it, we've got water-resistant planks here. These are going to be used for making hydrostatic pressure pots, which is going to be automating our little botany pots over there. They utilize the extreme pressure at the ocean bottom to extract fully grown plants and place them into an adjacent inventory. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I've got so much that I need to do. I'm going to have to sort some stuff and make a little bit more space so that I can get all this stuff set for the next episode. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, if you want to come visit us on Twitch, you're more than welcome. And if you want to check out some other stuff that we might have on the channel, feel free to click one of these links on the screen now.